Hey guys, just wanted to thank you for all your outpouring of love and support here the last week or so. Appreciate it very much. We just got home. It's about a 13, 14 hour day at Johns Hopkins for the heart catheterization. Um, Emerson was a trooper. He was great. He was a brave soldier. He was in there for probably, I don't know, 3.5 or 4 hours for this heart catheterization. They put one catheter in his neck and one catheter in his groin, and did a bunch of tests on his heart. The big news was more of a gee whiz, but they discovered a previously undiagnosed congenital heart defect with Emerson on top of everything else. He has a vein from the upper quadrant of his right lung that runs back into the wrong chamber of his heart. They think that it's totally unrelated to the cardiomyopathy. The two things are mutually exclusive. And when he does get a heart transplant, they will reroute that vein to the correct place. And if he did not need a heart transplant for some reason, they would probably still decide to go in there and correct that. So he's looking at would it be having a heart surgery either way? But it was more of a gee whiz on top of everything else. It was good news the rest of the way. The pressures in his heart are elevated as expected, but not so bad that he is not a candidate for heart transplant. The pressures in his lungs are a little bit elevated, but not bad enough that they need to worry about that at this point in time. They'll be doing biopsies of the heart and muscle and other things that won't get back for a week or so. But basically, all of the information that was gathered today that they had immediate information on was all status quo, what they expected. You kind of learn here as you go that basically all these tests they're doing, what they're trying to figure out is, does he have anything else going on that rules him out as a heart transplant candidate? I mean, basically, if you have restrictive cardiomyopathy, you need a heart transplant. So all these tests are basically just to figure out, are you a good candidate for that or not? So that's kind of you learn as you go here. But interesting, another gee whiz. In the various tests they do, they put some saline through his heart to see how his heart reacts. Do a bunch of various tests just to see how it goes. One of the things they did was they restricted the oxygen into his heart somehow or another, I guess with nitric oxide or whatever. And even though he was under anesthesia and totally sedated enough that they could put picks and catheters in his neck and his body, when that happened, the body was conscious enough to reach up, and Emerson reached up and pulled the breathing tube out of his mouth to trying to breathe. So they thought that it was very interesting that the amount of sedation needed for that was much greater than the other. That the body's own natural defense and recourse was to wake itself up and pull a breathing tube out of his mouth, and so out of the throat. So they had to stop the procedure and go back and reinsert the breathing tube at one point in time. It's all neither here nor there, but interesting, I thought. Recovery was okay. I didn't handle it real well. There was a bunch of bleeding going on, and I got a little lightheaded and dizzy and had to step out there the rest of the way. Luckily, my wife was the better trooper than me, but I felt pretty worthless for not being able to be there for him. But I was not going to make it had I stayed. Basically, learned a little bit more about the transplant process. Right now, Hopkins has 9 active kids in the transplant list. 2 of them are the Class 1A that are living at the PICU there. So there are 9 other kids kind of like us that Hopkins is dealing with. So the company that does all the transplant coordinating is called UNOS, UNOS. If you Google UNOS and then data, it'll pop up in Google. You can get on there. We are what's called Region 2, which is about a 4 or 5 state area here right around us. But that's important because hearts need to be transplanted within 4 to 6 hours of what they call the harvesting. So you have to be in a local area to where the heart is. And so when they look at matching a heart, it's based on region, blood type, age, or not age, but weight and height. So basically, they kind of lump all the 1 to 5 year olds in a general group together. And from there, it's just blood type, height, and weight, and locale. That UNOS data website has got basically this huge sortable database of all the pertinent for information of all the kids that are on the waiting lists in every region. Not their names, obviously, but you can sort them by blood type, age. It's pretty interesting. From what I could basically tell, Emerson's type A blood. It looks to me like there are 2 kids in our region, aged 1 to 5, with type A blood that are on the list currently. But then again, you don't know if those are 1 year olds that weigh 12 pounds or if they're 5 year olds that weigh 60 pounds. So you have to match that as well. So, he's not that far down the list. I also was able to sort through that website. It looked like the median wait time for a heart transplant at that age and blood type has been about 70 to 80 days for the last probably 5 years. So I think this is going to move a lot faster than what I anticipated or thought. We'll see. We are going to have another appointment at Hopkins in 2 weeks with the entire team of doctors to go over all the data, and kind of they'll give us the synopsis and the plan and everything. I'm expecting that we will be on the transplant list sometime mid next week, and we'll go from there. Just to give you an idea too, on that data website, it looks to me like in our region, there have only been 12 kids that have had restrictive cardiomyopathy or have been put on the heart transplant list for that reason in the last since 1995. Last thing I wanted to add, I forgot. Wanted to thank everybody for the outpouring of love and support for concern for us and what the obviously emotional toll, but also potential financial ramifications of all this are. Right now, insurance has been great. Not really, don't know if we have a firm grasp of what the future looks like on any level, health wise and time wise and finances and whatnot. But a lot of people are wondering what they can do and how they can help. And right now, everything's great. So just want to pass that along. If situation changes, be sure to let you guys know. But right now, we're doing well, and everything's fine, and insurance has been great. And we'll just go from here and take it one day at a time. Thanks. Bye.